Hey guys, it's Bart Johnson here, and today I have a GoPro HERO4 Black Edition with me. And one of the biggest appeals of this new little camera is that it can shoot in 4K resolution at 24 or 30 frames per second. And today I am going to show you how to take full advantage of that giant 4K resolution to turn a shot like this into a shot like this. Okay guys, so here I am in Adobe CC 2014. This is what I'm going to be using to make all of my tweaks to our video. So I've got a few assets brought in here, including our footage that we're going to be working with, a 1080 timeline, and a few other assets that I'll get to later on in the video. So the first thing we're going to start with is our footage here, and this is our original 4K clip. As you can see here, it is 3840 by 2160, which is 4K, and the original clip looks like this. Okay, so obviously there's some differences between the way this clip looks and the final finished version. So I'm going to take you through a few steps to clean it up and change it to the final version that I showed. The first thing we're going to want to do is bring this clip into our sequence here. So I'll go ahead and just take the video and drop it in. Now here it says the clip does not match the sequence settings. Change sequence to match. I'm going to use keep existing settings. Now what you'll see here is this is our clip, and obviously it looks different from the source clip, and the reason is that this sequence is 1920 by 1080 while our footage is in 4K. So what's happening is it's automatically being cropped, and this is what the 4K to 1080 crop looks like. So obviously you can see that putting 4K into a 1080p timeline, there's a lot that's outside of this frame that right now we can't see. It's sort of being punched in. So the first thing I like to do to work with it is just to be able to see everything in the frame. So I go ahead and select scale to frame size. And now everything has been sort of compressed, shrunk down to fit into a 1080 frame, and it's the same size as the 4K, but we've got everything in here now. And I just like to do this when I work with it. So the first thing that I want to take care of is obviously we have this this distortion, this lens distortion from the GoPro lens. So I want to go ahead and I want to straighten out my horizon line and sort of take care of that. Now CC 2014 has some nice new presets in it. If you go under presets, you can go to lens distortion removal, GoPro, and they have a few GoPros under here. Now I shot this with the HERO4, and currently there are no HERO4 settings out, but if you go under the HERO3 Plus Black, it does have a setting for 4K wide, which is what I shot this in. Now the HERO3 Plus could only do 4K at 15 frames per second or 12 frames per second, but the resolution should be the same. So I can go ahead and I can just drag this and drop it. And as you see, it straightens everything out. Now you may need to do a little bit of tweaking. You can go into the effects controls and adjust this until you get it right about where you want. So I'll leave it right about there. And so now our shot looks like this. So as you can see now, with the GoPro lens distortion corrected, we have a much straighter horizon line, and it's not quite as obvious that this was shot with a GoPro's wide-angle lens. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to crop into this shot, and what I want to do is I want to focus on the house. So I'm actually just going to undo what I did at the start, and I'm going to undo scale to frame size. And now what this does is you can see it has cropped back in to that 1080 frame. So we're discarding all of that other 4K information outside of that, and makes it look like we've got a really tight shot on the house. So this is what the shot looks like after cropping in. So now that we've cropped in, I can see that the house isn't exactly centered in the frame. So I want to go ahead and take care of that. And since I have all of the extra 4K information, there's a lot more to this image outside of this frame. I have the flexibility to move it around and place it where I would like. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to Motion, and I'm going to change the position here. So I'm going to change this for my image to 1196, and I'm going to change this to 603 roughly. And we can see that after we have moved that, we've sort of centered the house a little bit more in the frame, and now our shot looks like this. Okay, so now the shot is shaping up, and it's definitely looking quite a bit different from the original raw GoPro footage. And I want to go ahead and I want to take a little bit more advantage of all that 4K resolution, and I'm going to add a fake zoom to this to make the shot a little bit more dynamic. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go over here to Scale, and I'm going to click the stopwatch so that I can add keyframes. So right here at the beginning of the shot, I'm actually going to scale this shot out to 75%. So as soon as my machine catches up with the processing, there we go. What we've done is we have scaled the shot back and essentially zoomed out. Because we have all that 4K resolution to work with, we can do this. So what I want to do is I'm going to move a little bit further in the shot, let's say to right about here, let the computer catch up. There we go, so we've moved to the other side of the house, and I'm going to put a keyframe for 100% to zoom back in, and as soon as that processes and catches up, there we go. We are punched in. So now we've added a digital zoom, which looks like this. So now that we've used our 4K to crop into the image, recenter the house a bit, and even add a fake digital zoom to it in post, the only real steps left are to add our color grade. And I just did a quick one on this using another handy preset that they have in CC 2014, and it's called Lumetri. And what this does is you go ahead and drag it right over onto the clip, and here we go. It will prompt me to select a look or a LUT. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my looks and LUTs folder. I have some looks and LUTs, the blockbuster LUTs that I purchased from Neumann Films. I'll include a link to those if you guys are interested. Go into the LUTs, and they have a whole bunch of different choices. There isn't one specifically for GoPro, but I chose the Canon DSLR CineStyle because I shot this super flat on the GoPro, so I figured this is about the closest. And I went through and just chose his monsters and robots. It's a preset. And go ahead and load it in. And once it's loaded in, that's what you get. So here's what it looks like with the grading. Now, of course, you can go ahead and do your own color grade manually. You can even tweak the LUTs and everything to get it to look the way you want. I just slapped one on quickly to show the difference. And if you don't have Lumetri, if you have an older version of Premiere, you can, of course, always go through and use the three-way color corrector here, and you can go ahead and put that on there, and it gives you all sorts of options to go ahead and tweak your colors. So you don't have to use a LUT. I just wanted to do it for speed and show you how well you can grade this footage. But now The final step, and this is a complete personal preference, is I always like to put a 235 mask on my footage to give it a little bit more of a cinematic look. And what I have here is a PNG file that is a 235:1 letterbox template for 1080p. So what I do is I just drag this, put it right over my video, and as soon as the computer catches up with everything, there we go. It's literally just a PNG of black bars at the top and the bottom that crops in, gives you that sort of fake anamorphic look. Obviously, you're losing resolution at the top and the bottom, but for these circumstances, I really don't mind so much. And like I said, this is a personal preference. You can keep everything 16:9. But here is what the shot looks like now cropped. So there we go, that's everything, taking it from start to finish, and here you can see the original shot side by side with our cropped, zoomed, centered, and corrected shot. Okay everyone, I hope you enjoyed this quick tutorial. It was nothing too fancy, just simple, and just showing you how you can really utilize all of that 4K resolution, especially when you're working in a smaller resolution timeline like 1080. If you were mastering to 720, you could crop in even tighter on this without losing any resolution. So there's infinite ways that you can use 4K for 1080 or even 720p productions.